Now, returning to one of our top stories, and that is the Democratic race for the presidential nominees. Joining us live now is James Brown from the US Studies Centre. James, thank you for your time. Really big night. We've had Pete Buttigieg pull out yesterday, our time, and now Amy Klobuchar as well. It seems like everyone on the moderate side is dropping out to back in Joe Biden.
Yeah, it's the Stop Sanders coalition that's assembling here. Pete Buttigieg, I thought, had a very graceful speech overnight. Smart of him to be the first of the other moderate candidates to drop out. I think that signals to the party that he is a servant of the party and that he accepts that he doesn't have the numbers or the coalition necessary to win this race. Amy Klobuchar dropping out too, and there are reports that both of them will appear at a Biden rally shortly to give their endorsement to Joe Biden, trying to help him stop Bernie Sanders from building a lead on Super Tuesday, where more than a third of the delegates for the Democratic Convention are up for grabs.
What does this mean for Elizabeth Warren? It's really now putting pressure on her race if everyone else is kind of collaborating to try and get Sanders out. No one's backing her in.
No, she's sort of a bit lonely at the moment. She'll pick up some delegates later on today. She'll get some in her own state. She'll do better than she has in any of the previous contests in this race so far, but I don't think she'll get enough to be a serious challenge to Bernie Sanders. So her campaign will need to make a decision fairly shortly, you would think. And of course, we're waiting to see what happens with Mike Bloomberg, whether his $500 million will actually get him somewhere, whether he'll get enough delegates here to be a serious contender to Biden or not.
Do you think that Bloomberg is likely to stick it out right to the end, even if he doesn't get the Democratic nomination, pull a bit of a Ross Perot?
Look, it's possible. He's got the resources, he's certainly got the ego, and he's had a little bit of success so far. The polls have been supportive to him. He's picked up some delegates, but you know he really has some tough decisions to make. His debate performance hasn't been good. He's been almost surprised, I think, by some of the pressure he's been put under in the debates and in his campaign rallies so far. So his strength as a candidate, his electability as a candidate, still up in the air at the moment.
If we take a look at the remaining field, we've got the candidates who've dropped out: Buttigieg, Klobuchar, Kamala Harris, kind of forgotten her in this big scheme of things, Andrew Yang and Beto O'Rourke. But if we see the candidates still in the race, Biden, Sanders, they have to be the two clear front runners, Bloomberg and Warren, and everyone seems to forget Tulsi Gabbard still in the race.
Look, her fans are strong fans, and there is a chance that she could turn up in a Sanders administration, for example. You know, I think it's unlikely at this point that she seriously threatens to take the nomination at the convention or beforehand, but she does have some very strong supporters, and people are interested in her messages, and they're interested in her as a foil to Trump. So I think she will be around. She has a role to play, probably not as the candidate though.
And Super Tuesday is upon us. That is a huge amalgamation of really key states like Texas, California. Why do you think this is so important that the moderates are rallying around Joe Biden now for this particular race?
They've got to give that side of their party a clear choice, and that's been the dilemma, I think, for Democratic primary voters so far. It's very hard to choose between the candidates. They each have their strengths, they each have their weaknesses. All of them are sort of clustered in the same bracket, largely in terms of their ability to beat Trump. The polls sort of have them in a spread from 49% with Sanders down to sort of the low 40s with the others. So it's a tough choice. I think by making that a clear choice for the moderate side of the party, they can limit the ability of Sanders to race away with a whole ton of delegates in California, in Texas, in Colorado. And that is key to making sure that the person who wins the nomination for the Democratic Party actually is a Democrat.